All right, so it's time for some listener questions. Jared, what are we picking today?
Yeah, so Frozen Fear asks, what is your favorite piece of arcade-related merchandise that is not an actual arcade machine?
There's a lot. It's not my favorite, but I think you got this at GameStop, Rob. Didn't you get the Joust Snow Globe?
Oh, yes.
That's a pretty cool one.
Well, we have one for the arcade here also.
Yeah. It's like a super cool little it's just like the ostrich, right? I can't remember. I haven't looked at it in a while, but
Yeah, it's the logo
yeah.
standing inside the snow globe. And then it's got a nice like molded, sculpted thing below it where the globe is actually standing in a platform and everything. But right on brand, got Joust there in the front and everything. Looks fantastic.
Yeah. There's a lot of really cool like vinyl kits that people have made. I recently got the main boss in the game Splatterhouse. I forget the studio that made it. I'll look it up and I'll put a link of it on here. But they make a bunch of weird like little Sofubi like vinyl toys, and it's the last boss of Splatterhouse, and like you can put a light underneath it so it like lights up. So it's like that melted like head that you should fight at the very end of it, like that. That's a pretty cool one. There's a lot of like plushes. I have like the like a plush from Metal Slug 3, the Mars people. I have the Taco plush from Parodius. I'm like a sucker for like certain kind of like plush and like figures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One really cool thing that came out not too long ago, also from Metal Slug 3, they had them at like GameStop of all places. It's like a little statue, but it was like I think I showed it to you. It was it was on like super clearance for like $20, but it's probably like a 6-inch tall like Metal Slug 3 like it's like the Metal Slug kind of pointing up with like a rocket coming out of it. It's really really cool. But they made a bunch of really interesting like things like that. I know you collect the miniature, but
So
those
that
are also
was-
kind of machines.
That was
though.
going to be my question. Do those count?
I think
Are
they
those
do.
excluded
Yeah,
because they're
'cause
not the
you're-
real
Well,
arcade
I think they do.
stuff.
Like don't you have like the coin changer is just like a hub, right? That's not like a like that's kind of like a neat
So
thing, I would think.
Replicades. There's two main places I think that make them. New Wave Toys sells Replicades.
Yeah.
They're about 12 inches high, and they're different licensed games. They're very true to what the look was and everything of the original games. And then Quarter Arcades sells a larger version. I think it's like a 1/6 scale, but it comes out to be like maybe like 14 inches or a little higher. And that's based in the UK. And they make different games. I wish it's bad because sometimes like they made Bubble Bobble and they made Miss Pac-Man and stuff. I was like, well, I can't get those because then they won't fit in the lineup of the other ones. But the Replicades I've been collecting for quite some time. Probably my favorite there is Q*bert.
Yeah.
Because
You have most of them, don't you?
I think I never got Centipede maybe, which was the very first one they did, but I bought Tempest and Street Fighter 2, which were the next two. And then since then I bought pretty much every one except for I skipped some on purpose just because they weren't appealing to me. And then the ones they've come out with lately have kind of lost the plot a little bit, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
But I mean, the last one I got was like a Zoltar
It's pretty
machine.
cool. It's pretty cool.
And it gives you fortunes and everything.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But probably Q*bert's my favorite. One, because I bought 3 Q*berts in my past.
Yeah.
And every time I bought them because I
4
knew
other
other
yeah.
collectors wanted them. And then immediately passed it on to that collector for the cost that I had bought it from.
That's a mistake.
And then it was like, oh, man. Probably, in retrospect, should have kept a
One.
Q*bert
Q*bert,
because it'd be
yeah.
really nice to have. So knowing now they'll probably never get a Q*bert because of how much in demand they are and the cost and everything, I now have the Replicate one. But I also took it to a show, and Warren Davis was nice enough to personalize it.
That's so cool.
So now I have a Warren Davis signed Q*bert, and it's the they made I forget what they called it, but anyway, 2 different versions of Q*bert. One is your traditional Q*bert, and then they made like a
The cubes or whatever. Q*bert's cubes.
no, that was a sequel. This is still Q*bert, but it was the prototype, I think,
Oh, okay.
with the different art. But it also had the
profanity or whatever.
profanity
Yeah.
marquee. It's not
That's
really
cool.
profanity. It's just how he speaks.
Sure.
But that's the one I think I got signed from him.
That's cool.
And that's probably the one that I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of posters and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
A lot of limited stuff that is neat in the arcade side. But if I can pick the Replicade and that doesn't count against me as being an arcade machine, then I'll pick that one.
Something else too that I'm not. I think you may have a couple. I know you're not. You're not really into like toys and stuff as much as Rob and I are, but the soundtracks. They've been coming out with a lot of what is it, Mondo or whatever makes a lot of the video game like soundtracks on vinyl. Like, I think I got you the Ikaruga one.
Yeah.
Like I've got Outrun. I've got a couple of the arcade soundtracks, but I think you collect some of those too, right?
Yeah, some of the soundtracks are neat. One of the big things that they were doing for a while was they would do like Christmas ornaments of the arcade machines.
I got those too. Yeah.
And those
I
were always
have a
neat.
Donkey Kong one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
have
They
a
did a
Joust.
Joust.
Yeah.
They did a Galaga, I believe,
Yeah,
and
that
a,
one.
a Pac-Man. So those are always just fun because they come out during Christmas time, and it's
And you can
another
hit
thing
the
the
button on
thing.
them and they play
Light up, yeah.
they play
Yeah.
the tune.
Yeah,
Didn't they make they made a Tron one as well, right? That cause didn't people used to put the Tron ornament in the pinball machine
Oh yeah.
to make
they
it like
did.
light? That was like a mod that people
That was
were
a while
doing.
ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's neat. I was trying to think what else. I mean, a few of the figures, I ended up getting that Metal Slug 3.
Oh, you did get
vinyl
one.
figure. Yeah.
Nice.
I want to say that was like Big Bad Toys or
It was
one
something
of
like
those.
that. I think I got mine at
um,
GameStop though. It was like
Oh, really?
I think I like walked in there like it was on like mega clearance or something.
Yeah, back in the day, they would have more stuff because I remember I've got a kind of a bucket or a bin of random Neo Geo related
You?
stuff. Yeah, a lot of T-shirts
Yeah.
from back in the day, promo art. But Samurai Showdown, they did figures back in the day.
They
and
did.
I actually got those at Babbage's
Nice.
on clearance. I walked in and they had them on clearance, so they had that. And they would carry keychains for King of Fighters and stuff like that. So there's a lot of neat stuff like that. Probably should have picked up a couple more of those IKEA shelves to display some
Details.
of that.
Yeah.
But exactly. But yeah, the Christmas ornaments are a big one. And then just some of the promo art is pretty cool to frame up, or the marquees to frame up. Would be the other one for me, I guess.
Sure.
No cardboard.
I've
You
got
know-
I've got some Neo Geo cardboard.
Yeah, there's some cardboard that's out there. Cardboard's it's cool in its own right. It's a little bit harder to explain to people than a piece of art, and and displaying it. You obviously don't want to mar up the cardboard because then the value.
You
just
see, what you got
plummets.
to do, Jared, is you have to get the nice cardboard, and then you have to buy the plastic box protector for the cardboard, and then you still don't touch it.
Okay.
And you got to send it off to get graded.
I haven't gone that far yet.
Did you see, tangentially related here, that someone has sent off arcade manuals
I
to
did.
get slabbed and graded?
I think
I saw those on eBay. I don't know if we were.
it was like a
talking about
Ninja
that
Turtles
in the
one, right? It's the
thing.
one that I saw, like a Ninja
There's a
Turtles,
couple- yeah.
like operator's manual or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
I feel like they weren't even in that great of condition.
No.
They
Wasn't
all have like
like it-
op writing on
Yeah,
them.
it wasn't like new old stock or anything. Like somebody found like a brand new kit.
I mean, I've easily got a 9 Miss Pac-Man
Right.
manual.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
it's wild.
If they send that back as an 8, I'm going to crack it and then resubmit
send
it.
it. Yeah, I would. It seems like it's jumped the shark when you're sending off op manuals
Yes.
for sure. But
yeah, it's pretty nuts.
The other thing, as you mentioned, vinyl. This last Saturday was Record Store Day, and I wasn't paying that much attention with everything going on, but I realized after the fact that one of the releases they had was pinball related.
Mhm.
It was Black Knight Sword of Rage soundtrack on vinyl.
Such a good soundtrack.
1,200 I think they came out with on Record Store Day, but I did manage to find one, and I ordered it yesterday.
Nice.
To go along with my Black Knight Sword of Rage
Pinball.
pinball.
Yeah, heck yeah. That's awesome. It's really cool to do that kind of stuff.
all right, so Room Don Sharif,
Ooh, name change.
name change there, asked, "What games do you look the coolest playing, and what games do you look the dorkiest playing?"
I look cool playing no games. Next person.
I look cool playing Outrun 2.
Yeah.
The best thing is like towards the end of the race, if you know that you're gonna win, like right as you can run the last corner, you gotta like flip people off.
Yeah.
You gotta let them know that you won.
Do you just Luigi Death Stare the person in the
No,
in the one next to you?
I should though.
Exactly.
But no, like it's a weird one because like I don't know. It's kind of weird to think you look cool yourself. It's like,
Right.
I think somebody should like answer it for you, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's
like,
tough to do.
I think I look like an absolute tool playing DDR, like Sound Voltex or Tuna them. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like like I'm an idiot, like like doing stuff. But like looking,
DDR would be a big one for
Yeah.
me that
Yeah.
I look terrible playing, and I can realize that probably because I've seen real like good players play it live, and comparatively speaking, like when I'm up there flailing around, it's like not good.
like I catch myself doing it, but like when I really get into playing like Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
I feel myself hold on the side of the cabinet like an idiot and like get my legs like locked in for no reason. It doesn't help me any at the game, but I just catch myself standing like an idiot. Sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, I don't need to do this. But it like looks the coolest. I don't know, probably none.
I mean, I feel like internal image, I feel like I look cool playing Chunithm on some songs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's also a reason that I come in and play Chunithm when no one's here. So I know externally it's probably not true.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird question. Like, is it an oxymoron? Like, coolest and like, middle-aged guys playing arcade games. Like, I don't know if they, like, if there's any overlap in the Venn diagrams of those two things. I was gonna say, when we picked up the initial D's, that was always the joke. Like, they were back on the trailer, and Adam or myself or whoever would hop in and be
Right.
like, "All right, let's go down the
Drive it
highway."
home.
With me
I
in
did.
the
I did
back.
want to get that picture of me in the initial decab on I-10,
Yeah,
like while going 80, but probably not the safest way to do
probably
that.
not for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess light gun games, you'd kind of look cool.
Yeah,
Like I always think of the video. I think it was a South Korean arcade, but there's a guy, and he has like I don't even remember. It might have been like Ghost Squad or something that they were playing, but it's like a machine gun of some sort, and he's like super getting into it. So he's like rolling out of the way and like rolling and like shooting over his head and stuff. That guy, super nerdy,
Yeah.
but at least it looks cool what he's doing,
Yeah.
and he's having fun. So like that kind of stuff, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm never going to have that moment where I'm like on the Street Fighter 2 game and then like I stand up and get the projection of Akuma in
on
my
the
back.
Takedo,
the perfect moment.
Takedo killed that.
That's never going to happen.
That was pretty rad,
Right.
though. I hope that he wore that white shirt on purpose to do that. I'm assuming that he did. Good for him. Super cool.
Was there a least cool portion of that?
Least cool for me is going to be DDR.
Has to
DDR,
be.
yeah.
Not just for you, but for me.
Just no. Just that's the thing is like it's tough because like as Jared said, if you watch someone who's like really good at the game, it's an impressive thing
Yes.
to watch. Like people are just so good at it, and they're sitting there just shredding and like holding on to the bar, and like everything's just like locked in, and then like I'll jump on and be like, "Oh, no, 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 they're my little butterfly," missing arrows, and I'm just
Yes.
like, oh, this is not a game for me. I should not be doing this.
yeah. And then by the end, you're winded, and so like
I don't wanna talk about that part,
I'm
but yeah.
using the bar
Sitting
more to
on the
like
bar.
lean
Yeah.
over
Oh, yeah.
and like, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that easily has to be
Yeah.
that game. And
I can tell you
the
though,
arcade.
when I felt the coolest was my 21st birthday down in Ybor. We used to have GameWorks, and GameWorks and Ybor had I want to say it was 8-player Daytona, like linked Daytona, but it was like the big ones that you had to like climb into.
remember that
Like,
one,
really
yeah.
big ones, right? And obviously it's my 21st birthday. People may or may not have been feeding me drinks, maybe too many drinks, right? And no one should ever drink and drive, ever. Looking at you, ever. No one should ever do it. But if you're at a GameWorks and they have Daytona, you sit in there and you play. I was so wasted that like I remember my head just like sitting on my shoulder and having to close one eye, just like racing and just destroying people at the game because they've never played it before. That was pretty cool.
So not to socially fish you,
Yeah.
when you were 21,
Yes.
would that have been in 2023?
So I was born in '85.
Okay, no then.
So before that, yeah.
Right, okay. Because I had my bachelor's party
Oh. Okay.
in Ybor City,
This would have been.
and I was like, huh.
No, this would have been
Maybe a really drunk Rob met a really drunk Adam many years ago.
On the
I think-
Daytona
I think
machine.
2006, I think.
I was like,
Was
at
that
my
right?
bachelor party, I remember some guy
I think that math
leaned
maths.
over.
2006, I think.
Okay, yeah, it was a couple of years.
Yeah.
A couple of years after my
That
bachelor
that
party.
GameWorks was cool though, man. They had like a good selection. Their pinball section sucked, but it was a pretty good
remember it, yeah.
arcade.
Yeah.
I think like a month or two after my 21st birthday, like I think like a water something like a pipe broke or something in there, and a bunch of the games got ruined.
I remember they had either House of Dead 3 or 4.
They had 3 for sure.
Okay.
They had the
It
big
was-
3. Yeah.
It was back there behind the first
Yep.
open area. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say occasionally I'll have a really good game of pinball, and like I feel cool.
Pinball is definitely, you can have both your most uncool moment
Yeah.
on the same machine that you can have your most cool moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's all about how the game goes. If you're just in the groove and you're just hitting every shot and you're feeling it, then you feel cool.
Yes.
You
I don't know what it really
you can't
looks
like,
like.
you look at yourself. You
Yeah.
can't have your out of body experience to see it, but as long as you're not doing like donkey kicks and stuff while playing, you know, where you're like-
I've seen some of that in here before.
Oh, I have
a lot,
too.
A lot of the old timers are whipping their ankles around. And I'm like, relax.
you can tell they think it is super cool. It is the dorkiest thing anybody else has
I'm
ever
worried
seen
that they're
done.
gonna just like kick a kid in
Yeah.
the temple.
Yeah.
Like it's
Same
wild.
here.
yeah.
Don't do that. Don't
Don't
donkey kick.
Yeah, don't do that. It doesn't do anything.
Establish your space and retain your space.
Yeah. Like I think all of us will lean into a game a little bit, but I'm not whipping my ankle around like a friggin' mace or whatever. It's too much.
All right. So Raymond the Frog says you talked recently about light gun games being hard to experience through emulation. What's the most insane or ambitious project you've seen to recreate an arcade hardware experience for an emulated game?
I think we talked about this on the show. 99% sure we talked about this on the show. The armadillo racing
Yeah.
with the deodorant ball sticks.
Yeah.
That's
We did,
amazing.
yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. But there's also, Jared and I were just talking about this on YouTube. There's a guy named Luke Morse, who's one of the older arcade channels I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And that guy goes in and he'll buy like broken boards and just weird arcade hardware, and he sets them up at his house to like play on them. So he's done like, I think he did like Jurassic Park and The Lost World. He like set up like a gun, and sometimes he will buy like the actual gun or the control panel and kind of wire it up. But sometimes he has made things to kind of help with it. So
Yeah.
me personally, I mean, I haven't really emulated a lot of stuff outside of like joystick games, like maybe like a wheel to play some racing games, but I've never really done any of the crazy light gun stuff or anything.
You did hook up a Time Crisis pedal.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah,
So-
our local buddy, he's super into Time Crisis, and he was parting or upgrading one of his cabs, and I've got the old like original pedal, which is like metal and like diamond plated steel, so it's like super heavy. A lot of the ones that you got in like the PlayStation kits were like plastic, and if you put your foot on it, you're gonna break it. So I did take that and wire it into a way, like on the Mister to play the PS1 port. So I guess that would be my craziest one, is the actual arcade Time Crisis pedal wired into a
Yeah.
snack adapter or whatever.
Yeah, and then a lot of the things that I've seen are like, aftermarket hardware to adapt like JVS controls
Yeah.
to the emulated stuff. So that's pretty neat. That's some newer project that I've
Yeah.
seen come out.
I have
You
one
know,
for
so, like-
when eventually when my 18th Naomi 2 explodes, we can keep Initial D
Yes.
going.
Yeah, so stuff like that, readapting arcade cabinets to PCs. That's a great example of one like, hey, I can't get the arcade board, or it's really expensive. I could put a PC in there that would do the same job, but I need to adapt the force feedback motors and all the controls to it. So that's probably what I would go with. And some of the neatest ones too, just from a standpoint of preserving that experience. It's generally a hybrid situation. It's not like, the armadillo with the deodorant is kind of like a
That's-
completely new thing.
It's
But-
incredible is what
and
it
it is
is.
incredible. But a lot of the things that I'm interested in or I see are like an adaptation of
Yeah.
both. So like combination of real arcade hardware with, some new boards or something to adapt it to either a PC or vice versa.
I still want somebody to figure out how to make Battle Pod work on an Oculus or like a VR headset.
Yeah.
It would work. It would work so well.
Yeah.
Make it happen, please. I would go out and buy. I would
That
actually
seems
go out
like
and
a
buy.
very easy.
Yeah. It should work pretty straightforward. I just don't know. Needs that and like all the games, like the bootleg Ace Combat one and the Gundam, like all those games.
Yeah. I mean, you're just feeding the signal into the Oculus, and
Yeah.
then you're relying on the Oculus
You make a
to
focal
pick out
point.
where you're
Yeah, your focal
seeing
point.
within the 180 degree
Yeah.
sphere. So
It should work pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer for this.
Yeah.
For me, I'm the Square. You guys are the ones that are always keeping up with like the more recent stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm usually just focused on what the original hardware was or the experience was, and that's kind of what I stick to.
Yeah.
So I'm never really thinking about ways to emulate or something. I'm thinking about what the original was. So unfortunately, I don't really have an answer on this one.
Yeah, I mean, outside of just like MAME, I mean, there's really not a
Yeah.
lot. Like,
Yeah, and I would say maybe your only other experience would be like adapting newer boards into arcade hardware, like a J-Rock or something.
Right.
Multi.
But it's not really like an emulated. In that case, it is a multi-board using the same clock speeds and some of that stuff. But
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
It's emulated
just-
in the fact that like you're recreating it on a different chipset.
Right.
But I know it's probably not exactly what he was asking. But
Yeah. In that vein, at least. I mean, because I'm just being honest. I don't really pay attention to like the new stuff that's happening. I hear it through you guys, just like Armadillo Racing and some other stuff. But I'm usually not seeking it out or seeing, hey, what did they do? All that stuff. Recently with the light gun stuff on, flat screen TVs and everything. Like I know it exists, but I've never really looked into it.
yeah.
So that's just kind of I don't really mess around
Yeah,
in
I
that
don't-
area,
I have,
so I don't really have an answer.
And I've always been like an original hardware person, but a lot of it's just out of necessity. It's like, okay, that the Outrun's acting up. Okay, let's
Don't say
see
that
what
out
we
loud.
can do
I'm
to
over.
adapt
No,
it.
he cursed my game, Outrun. He didn't say Outrun 2. Say Outrun 2, Jared.
Outrun 2.
There you
No.
Let's adapt it to CF cards or
yeah,
something
yeah.
to prolong the life. And so, like I said, it's usually a mixture of
I do-
real hardware and extra stuff.
I do have another answer.
Hmm.
GNet hardware.
Yeah.
What's the game on there that we couldn't play for the
Oh.
longest time?
RC Day Go.
RC Day Go was a game that came out on Taito GNet Arcade, which is essentially like a PlayStation 1, right?
Yeah.
Very similar to
Yep.
like that era of hardware.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I think
what-
it's the place. I think
there's a
it's the same
PlayStation
chipset.
Yeah. And what's cool about the game is it's a remote control car racing game. But what was unique about it was it came with little like remote control car controllers
Yep.
that would plug into the board and they would go through the control panel and everything. And for a while, like you couldn't play it because like you could not find these controllers. They were like very unique and like they're like red plastic, I think.
Yep.
A lot of times they'd show up on Yahoo Japan but like broken and you're like, eh. And I think you had actually mentioned it a while ago. You're like, I think you could probably just take like a remote control, like a regular, and like wire it up. And my buddy Everton actually figured it out. He found some like Futaba whatever that was a very generic
Yeah.
thing, and he measured out the pots, the value of
Because
the
I was
pots
gonna
on
say
there.
it's just a potentiometer in
Yeah,
there,
and
yeah.
he made a harness for it and everything, and I shipped him 2 of the controllers, and he made them for us. And all you do is you plug it in, you calibrate it, and it works awesome.
Yep.
And like the last time I played it on stream. I have not removed my card because it keeps the settings because I still have 2 cards that I have to unlock. And that game's awesome because you unlock like a cat. So you race like a cat. You race like I think you
Oh, I
race like
didn't
a
realize that.
chair. There's like weird cars that you can unlock. It's super cool. There's like an ambulance. Like the weirdest things that you could imagine you can do. It's really fun.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, I played some rounds. The kids enjoyed it. They
Yeah.
were actually
It's
asking to
super
play it
weird.
a bunch, but I didn't realize I never unlocked the cat.
Well, yeah, because
or
like
the
I
ambulance.
found that like when you go around a corner, if you jam the brake up and then gas again,
Yeah.
you get like turbo boost. So like after a while, you're just like flicking the.
Yeah.
That's why they broke so much. Is you're
Yes.
constantly flicking the trigger on the controller.
Yeah, I felt like my finger was going to break. I remember after
Yeah,
playing it for a good
like
while.
the
'cause, like,
top of your finger like
Yeah.
just like peeled.
yeah,
Very good questions though. Thank you guys again for asking those.
yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so that'll do it for The House of the Dead,
Yeah.
the best gun game ever made in arcades.
Well, I think it's the best franchise. The one is not my favorite of the series, but I think we can all at least agree that it's the best light gun franchise. I think
Yeah,
you like
yeah.
1 a lot more than 2, 3, and 4. I think you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played 1 and 2. I never really played 3 or 4,
Gotcha.
so those are still.
I played
kinda-
way more of 1 and 2 than 3 and 4
Yeah.
for sure. What's your favorite one, Jared?
I'd have to go back through.
typing. We're throwing out typing, right?
I don't count typing.
Otherwise, it's typing 1, 2.
even though it's like essentially the same type of game, I don't count typing as one of the House of the Deads.
Yeah, I played a lot of 2 on Dreamcast back in
Same.
the day. So, normally, I would say 2 is better. I think I had a lot of fun playing, especially both of us playing 1.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. Technically, because of the advancements in 2, I'm going to give it the edge because you don't have the flash. The graphics are the Naomi era, so I love that. That's
Yeah.
like really the sweet spot for those styles for me.
That's literally the only
So-
reason why I give it to 2 is A, I had it on Dreamcast,
Yeah.
and B, I really like the Naomi hardware.
Yeah.
I don't think like the game. I don't think 1's bad by any stretch. I just give it to 2 because I have nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, if somebody like recreated 1 on the 2 engine,
Oh,
no, like
Oh,
on
yeah.
Naomi hardware on the
So
2
it still
engine,
looked like just one
Yeah.
generation up, not
yes,
not current.
Yeah.
then I might actually say I prefer 1.
Gotcha. That's fair.
All right. Well, that'll wrap us up. Jared, where can they find you?
So same as always, just hanging out here every couple weeks.
Practicing light gun.
Yeah, I was practicing the cover up with the hand,
Yeah.
which is honestly the first time I've done that. I didn't even think. I don't know why. I just never thought to do that
Because you're not a
technique as a
cheater,
reload.
Jared.
And I mean, shooting off screens really, on that game in particular, it's really not that bad.
Right.
Um,
Well, I've been trying to introduce it more too. I was doing a lot with Area 51, but for House of the Dead, I've got muscle memory with that.
right.
So I actually found it messing me up when I was actually, doing it as opposed to going off screen and coming back to
Yeah.
where I needed to shoot because I must have played House of the Dead 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And so it's just ingrained. So again, bosses where I know, okay, I gotta aim at this one spot and just keep fire on it. That works great to continue to fire and cover it up every 5 or 6 shots to reload. But otherwise, I still find it easier, at least for House of the Dead, to play it traditionally.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, where can I find you?
Twitch.tv/PassBlaster. Going to be streaming some stuff. Probably not House of the Dead because I don't have one, and it's really a pain in the butt to. We probably could stream that one. I think. Let's
The
try to.
monitor's so nice, you might just be able to put a camera on it. And
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do that. We could stream. That monitor is so freaking good, dude. It's ridiculous. It
Is that-
feels like a new old stock monitor.
That's standard res or
Medium res. So it's,
Okay,
it's
it is
a
medium res,
MS8 in there, and it's unreal how nice that monitor is. But twitch.tv/PassBlaster, you can check me out there. Also here on our YouTube, we're adding some stuff, and then we've also started streaming from the arcade, at least a little bit of the pinball stuff.
Yep.
So our last tournament we streamed, and that's twitch.tv/FlippinGreatPinball, FlippinGreatPinball. Not
Because you
doing
did
that
not
again.
spell pinball.
Well, a lot of people put flipping.
Yep.
Great
It's just
pinball.
flipping.
Yeah.
No G, but then there's G and great.
Right. That's where people get screwed up. It's not 2 G's, it's one. Flipping.
It's not
great.
flipping reet.
No,
pinball?
it's not flipping reet.
Flipping pinball, like pig squeal. No, it's not that one. But yeah, check us out there for arcade stuff, and then also, hopefully we'll stream some stuff here soon for you guys.
Yeah, and we've been trying to get more of the game list out for Flipping Great Pinball.
Yeah.
On Discord and some other stuff, having some fun
Yeah, you
bracket
guys-
competition.
You guys
and all.
messed up on some of those. I'm not happy about some of the.
I knew
things
you wouldn't
picked.
be.
Yeah. Well, some of them they're just wrong, and then other ones it's just like, well, I wouldn't agree with you. So.
Yeah.
You know how it is. I think you would agree with what I said. Some people are like arguing for this or that. I'm like, what is happening
We
right
just
now?
have to see how Outrun 2 Mario Kart plays out. That's the,
There's only one correct answer for that, and I made a statement. I will burn that Discord to the ground if they get that one
If
wrong.
you know, if the Discord is gone and it's been deleted, you'll know why.
Oh,
It's
man.
because people chose Mario Kart over Outrun 2.
You can't. Like, I understand that Mario Kart's very fun, but of those 2 arcade games, there's no shot that Mario Kart is better than Outrun 2. Impossible.
But it's gonna win.
Better not. Absolutely better not happen.
Yeah, so check that out. You can also follow us on any of the social media stuff. We are on Blue Sky predominantly. along with our website, Paducah.com, and of course the Discord. So hop on there, hang out, ask questions. We interact on that frequently, except for this guy. He does it once a month.
Only when there's blood moons will he jump
Yeah.
on and respond.
See, timing was spot on
Yeah.
for both of us. No, Jared interacts too, but yeah, hop on there, ask any questions. Of course, we do our episode questions from there and everything else, and give us your feedback on the episode, or tell us what the synonyms for zombie are that were really stupid.
Yeah,
Be happy to
I'm
hear.
actually
'em.
curious.
That'll do it. Join us next time when we've got you covered with our next light gun game. See y'all next time.
See ya.
Later. Am I not in here? I thought I hit it. There you go.
We got blue bullets.
Oh,